Good morning, students. In our last class, in our discussions regarding the modern theory of international trade, we have discussed the background of the theory, the historic aspect of the theory, the various assumptions of the theory, and one of the criteria that is used to measure the factor abundance in a particular economy or in a particular country, that is factor endowment. Out of that we have discussed one point, that is physical criterion. That means how physically how we can measure the presence of a particular factors of production. And a slight recap of the theory till now, that physical criterion is used to measure the presence of physical quantity of a particular factors of production, whether comparatively a particular factors of production is more in a particular economy or less. And we have discussed two ratios. One is ratio between labor and capital in country A. If labor divided by capital in country A is less than labor divided by capital in country B, then we can say that country A is capital abundant. Similarly, if capital divided by labor in country B is less than the capital divided by labor in country A, then we say that country B is labor abundant. Now, this analysis of physical criterion to measure the abundance of the factors of production in terms of physical quantity can also be explained with the help of a simple diagram. Students, this is the diagram, this one, that is figure 1. Figure 1 is the diagram where we have measured or we have shown a diagrammatical representation of the physical criterion that is used by Heckscher and Ohlin to measure the factor abundance in a particular economy. If both the countries produce machine and cloth in the same production, in the same proportion, and production occurs along the line OR. OR is the line that divides the quadrant into two parts, 45-degree angle line OR. If production takes place along the OR, country A would be producing at point C and country B will be producing at point D. The points C and D lie on the respective production possibility curves PQ and P1, Q1 of these two countries. So PQ is the production possibility curve of country A and P1, Q1 is the production possibility curve of country B. And these two curves intersect OR at point C and D. So country A will produce at point C and country B will produce at point D. And both the countries will produce both the commodities, say machine and cloth. We have measured machine along the y-axis and we have measured cloth along the x-axis. So both the countries will produce both the commodities, machine and cloth, and country A will produce at point C and country B will produce at point D. Now, at point C, if you look at point C, the slope of country A's production possibility curve is more steep than the slope of production possibility curve of country B at point D. So SS1, which is the line tangent to PQ at point S, is steeper compared to the line TT1, which is tangent to P1Q1 at point D. This implies that the marginal cost of producing cloth in country A is higher than the marginal cost of producing cloth in country B. So this steeper and flatter, this comparison between the steeper and the flatter line means that the marginal cost of producing cloth in country A is higher than the marginal cost of producing cloth in country B. So if the production takes place at points C and D, machine can be produced more cheaply in country A and cloth can be produced more cheaply in country B. Since country A is capital abundant and the production of machine is capital intensive, so country A will produce machine, capital intensive commodity. Similarly, country B will produce cloth, which is labor abundant or which requires more amount of labor compared to capital. So in this way, the specialization process will take place and country A will specialize in the production of machine, which is capital intensive commodity. That means which requires more capital and less labor in the combination of labor and capital. And country B will produce cloth, which is labor intensive, which means that it requires a combination in which there will be more labor and less amount of capital. So there will be specialization between the two countries and machine will be exported to country B and country B will export cloth to country A. But here is one important point to be noted is that this generalization of Hexa-Rollin is to be whole good or is to be true, then one condition must be satisfied, and the condition is that the consumption pattern in both the countries is identical, must be identical, and income elasticity of demand for each commodity must be equal to unity. So this is very important. I repeat, this condition is very important. If this generalization is to be true, is to hold good, then one condition must be satisfied, and the condition is that the consumption pattern in both the countries A and B should be identical and the income elasticity of demand for each commodity must be equal to unity. So if this condition is satisfied, then we can only get this generalization explained by Hexa and Rollin. So students, this is the physical criterion aspect of Hexa-Rollin theory to measure the factor endowment. And the second criterion which is used by Hexa-Rollin is the price criterion. So now let us discuss the number 2 criterion, price criterion. Now, price criterion refers to that it measures the abundance of the factors of production in terms of available price irrespective of the physical amount of factors of production present in the country. That means whether the price of capital is cheaper than the price of labor or whether the price of labor is cheaper than the price of capital in a particular country. It does not take into account the physical amount of factors of production present in the country. So how it measures? It also uses a ratio between the price of capital in country A and the price of labor in country A, and the price of capital in country B and the price of labor in country B. So if the ratio between, I am showing you the ratio here, this is the ratio. If the price of capital in country A divided by price of labor in country A is less than the price of capital in country B and the price of labor in country B, then we can say that country A is capital abundance. That means price of capital is less compared to the price of labor. Similarly, we can also show that the country B is labor abundant if the price of labor in country B divided by the price of capital in country B is less than the ratio of price of labor in country A divided by price of capital in country A. If this condition happens, then we can say that country A is capital abundant and country B is labor abundant. So in price criterion, we take into consideration the prices of capital and labor, not the physical amount present in the economy of the two factors of production. If the price of capital is less compared to the price of labor, then we can say that the country is capital abundant. And if the price of labor is cheaper than the price of capital, then we can say that country is labor abundant. And the specialization will take place in line with the abundance of the factors of production. That means if price of capital is less, then the country will produce capital intensive commodity, and if the price of labor is less, then the country will specialize in the production of labor intensive commodity. So this generalization on the basis of price criterion can also be explained in the form of a diagram. This is the diagram, that is figure 2, in which we'll try to show you the diagrammatical explanation of the price criterion. What we have done here, we have measured labor in the x-axis and capital on the y-axis. Here, AB is the factor price line of country A, and A1, B1 is the factor price line of country B. Now, M represents the isoquant producing a certain level of machine, M for machine, say 100 machine, and C represents an isoquant for cloth, say 1000 unit of cloth. And as we can see, AB factor price line is tangent to the isoquant M at point R. It means that country A can produce certain number of units of machine, say 100 machines, by employing OK unit of capital and OL units of labor. So by employing OK units of capital and OL units of labor, country A can produce 100 units of machine at point R, where M is tangent to AB. OL amount of labor, technically we can say that OL amount of labor is equal to AK amount of capital. Technically we can say that OL amount of labor is equal to AK amount of capital if we express the total factors of production used in terms of capital only. In other words, the cost of producing 100 machines in country A in terms of capital is OA. So this is the total capital requires to produce 100 machines if we express all the cost of production in terms of capital. The factor price line A2 B2 of country B is parallel to A1 B1. So we have drawn another line A2 B2 which is parallel to A1 B1, the original factor price line of country B. Now the isoquant M is tangent to A2 B2 at point B. So at point B, at point S, factor price line A2 B2 is tangent to isoquant M. It signifies that country B can produce 100 machines by employing OK 1 units of capital and OL 1 units of labor. It means A2 K2 units of capital are equal to OL 1 units of labor, and the total cost of producing 100 machines in country B is OA2 in terms of capital. So in terms of capital, for country B to produce 100 units of machine, the cost is OA2 units of capital. So from this, we can make a conclusion that the production of machine is more capital intensive and in country A than in country B. So in country A, to produce 100 machine, we need OA amount of capital, and for country B to produce 100 machine in terms of capital, we need OA2 amount of capital. So we need more capital for country A and less capital for country B. This means country A is capital intensive and machine is a capital intensive quantity. So country A will produce machine. Similarly, for country B to produce 1000 meters of cloth, country A requires OL2 units of labor and OK2 units of capital. At point R1, the point of tangency between country A's factor price line AB and the isoquant of cloth C representing 1000 meters of cloth. Given this factors combination, OK2 units of capital are equal to BL2 units of labor. And the cost of producing 1000 meters of cloth in country A in terms of labor is OB. So total cost of producing 1000 meters of cloth in country A in terms of labor is OB. For country B, given the A1 B1 factor price line, the point of tangency between A1 B1 and isoquant C is S1, where country B requires OK3 amount of capital and OL3 amount of labor to produce 1000 meters of cloth. Now if we express this in terms of labor, then we require OK3 amount of capital can be converted into L3B1 amount of labor. So OK3 amount of capital is equal to L3B1 amount of labor. So the total cost in terms of labor to produce 1000 unit of cloth in country B is OB1. This means we require more labor to produce 1000 unit of cloth in country B compared to country A. This means country B is labor abundant and country B will produce labor intensive commodity cloth. So in this way, country A will be specialized in the production of machine which is capital intensive, and country B will specialize in the production of cloth which is labor intensive. So in this way, Heckscher and Ohlin has explained the price criterion for measuring the factor endowment in a particular economy. So with this, we have come to the end of one important way of measuring factor abundance, that is factor endowment. One is physical criterion, another is price criterion. So with this, I conclude for today. Here we have explained the two criterion, physical criterion and the price criterion, along with the diagrammatical explanations, and hope you have able to understand whatever I have explained to you. And our next classes we will try to explain the other method of measuring factor abundance, that is the factor intensity method. Thank you.